First important part is this one. How many players can you have from each team for each round? So in the group stage, you can have 3 players per nation. That is the same as the FPL throughout the season and as the UCL Fantasy in the group. In the round of 16, you can have 4 players from one team. That is interesting. 4 players from one team is not bad. Quarterfinal, 5 players from one team. So if you want Mbappe, Benzema, if they're still there, usually there's a cast of champions. They usually go out in the group stage. But if they're still there, if you want those players, semi-final, 6 players, it's not bad. And then final, you can have 8 players from each team. So I don't think that is much of a surprise. I think you would have expected something like that. Captain. For each match day, you must select a captain. We know about that one for sure. But this is an important detail. You can change your captain an unlimited number of times, as long as the new selected captain is yet to play in the current match day. So basically, if like for example, the World Cup will start on a Sunday, there will be games for that match day on Monday, I think Tuesday, Wednesday. I think there will be like 4 or 5 days. So if you have a captain on the first day, Qatar versus Ecuador, if you have your captain from Ecuador, if he doesn't do anything, you can change your captain for the Monday game. So if Monday, Messi is playing on Monday, you can captain him. If he only gets 1 goal and you're not happy with that, you can change it again, change your captain for the Tuesday game again. So you have to be active. You cannot change your team and then go on a holiday for 1 week. You will not be anywhere near the top because people will be changing every single day. I do understand work gets in the way and everything, but you do get my point. If your captain doesn't play on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, doesn't return everything as you want, on Tuesday you can change it again, and on Wednesday you can change it again. So you can change your captain even 4 to 5 times that week. So if your captain ends up getting you 2 points, that is a disaster of a match day because you've had like 4 or 5 chances to return. So that is interesting. That is the same as it was last time, but for you guys who are new, obviously they're going to say once your captain has played in the match day, you are able to change your captain once more for another player who is yet to play. Obviously, your captain if you change your captain, it has to be for a player who hasn't played. Time for the chips. Yes, what we call the chips on FPL and UCL Fantasy. Last time they had something. They had the wildcard. They had the bench boost in UCL Fantasy, in World Cup Fantasy, and they also had one that was called something captain, where you could captain a player. You don't choose your captain. If you play that chip, the player who scores the most points in your team is the one who's going to be given the captain automatically. So you don't have to stress about, oh my goodness, I captained a player who had 10 points and another one has picked up 16. No, if you play that chip, the one who picks up 16 points will automatically be captain. So let's read that in detail. So let's take a look at the chips that they have this time round. Wildcard will allow you to make unlimited transfers. We know about that. Cannot be used for the first match of the group or the round of 16. So you can use a wildcard any time apart from match day 1, obviously, and match day 4. Any other time you can use it. 12th man, this is a new chip, will allow you to select 1 additional player to score points for your team in a match day. When selected, the 12th man cannot be substituted, captained, or transferred. You can select any player to be a 12th man. Budget or team restrictions do not count here. Wow. So I can have 11 players in my team and then I choose a 12th random player who's not in my team. If that's the case, that is pretty interesting. I have never seen anything like this, and I play like 6-7 fantasy games. I played the Norwegian fantasy game, I play Bundesliga fantasy game, I play La Liga fantasy game, I play Champions League fantasy, Premier League fantasy, and I've never seen anything like this. This is interesting. This is something new. I do like when they bring on something new, something that you've never seen before. Power Captain is another chip that is there. So this one is one I was telling you that was there last time. This will allow you to get double points from whichever player scores the most points from your 15-man squad. This player will automatically be assigned the captain. So if you even have this player, if you play this chip, If you have a player on your bench and they score 20 points from your bench, it doesn't matter. They automatically get the captaincy if you play this chip. So that is interesting. So you probably have to play this one when a lot of teams have easier fixtures that week. So you're targeting Brazil here, Argentina, France, those kind of teams. And if they have easier fixtures in the same week, this power captain could be magic. So you won't cry about the player that has scored the most points for you not being your captain. You captain the player with 8 points instead of captaining a player who got 16 points. No, the player who got 16 points will automatically be captain. So you basically don't choose a captain that week. It's automatically chosen for you. That is interesting. So those are 3 chips to use: the wildcard, the 12th man, and the power captain. So as always, you cannot use them in the same match day. And considering the World Cup is only 7 match days at the World Cup, so 3 of them you can use chips. You can use 3 chips. You can use the 3 chips in any of them apart from the first round and the round of 16. So basically, you're not going to be using chips in like 2 match days. 3 of them you're going to be using chips, and 2 of them you're going to get an automatic wildcard like round of 16. And the first match you don't really use the chips. So up to you. You can obviously use the chip if you want, the power captain, for example, in match day 1. You will not be able to reverse a booster once it has been confirmed, and a booster will remain active. So they don't call it chips here, they call it boosters. So interesting. Transfers. Let's take a look at transfers. You'll be given a limited allocation of free transfers. This is always very important. How many transfers are we allowed per week? Before the tournament, unlimited. So right now you can make 1,000 transfers if you want, but before the start of match day 2, you're only allowed 2 transfers. Before the start of match day 3, you're also allowed 2 transfers. So the ones who are going to have a lot of injuries or a lot of suspensions, by the time we hit match day 2, you're going to only have 2 transfers unless you take a hit. And man, I do not like hits. So you can just imagine I am not going to take a hit in World Cup Fantasy. Absolutely not. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to look at my team and look at which teams have good fixtures all the way. Before the start of round 16, obviously unlimited. And then before the start of the quarterfinals, you're allowed 4 transfers. So those will be 8 teams to choose from. You're going to be allowed 4 transfers. Before the start of semifinals, 5 transfers. Before the start of the finals, 6 transfers. So I'm expecting a lot of people to use their wildcard in the group stage. But if you save your wildcard for later, you can still use it. Because let's say around here, before the round of 16, around here somewhere, after the group stage, let's say France has gone through, Argentina has gone through, Portugal, and you choose these players from these teams, and the other teams that have gone out, you remove all their players. So I'm assuming if you go for 3 French players because they have an easy fixture, or you go for 3 Argentine players because they have a good fixture, and then disaster happens, and then France, Argentina, and Brazil are all eliminated in the round of 16, and then you had like 9 players from those teams, you can still use your wildcard then, because that would be an emergency situation. It would help you then as well, because you didn't expect these teams to go out, and you had a lot of their players in the round of 16. You can still use it, and the 4 transfers might not be enough. But as you can see, that is the chances of that happening is very minimal. For you going for 3 French players, 3 Argentine players, 3 Brazilian players, 3 Portuguese players, and then all of them go out in the same round, that would be basically impossible. So 4 transfers, I think, is enough before the quarterfinal, and then 5 transfers before the start of the semifinals, and then before the start of the final, you're allowed 6 transfers. I think that's fair. I think that's not bad at all. Not complaining about that. By the way, hit the like button to support the channel. We will have a lot of content heading into the Champions League. Why did I keep on saying Champions League Fantasy? Because I'm used to Champions League Fantasy. Excuse me for that. World Cup. I need to get the World Cup thing inside my head. The World Cup Fantasy. We will have a lot of content with that, fast draft and all that. During the group stage, 1 transfer can be carried. Oh, this is an interesting point as well. Let's not forget about this. During the group stage, 1 transfer can be carried over in the next group stage match day. However, due to the unlimited transfer limit between the last game of match day 3 and the start of round of 16, you'll not be able to carry a transfer over at this stage. So if we are heading into match day 2, you don't have to make all your transfers. You can make 1 transfer, and then you remain with 1 to use to have 3 in match day 3. Hopefully that makes sense. So you can carry 1 transfer basically between match day 1 and match day 3. There's not a lot of match days to think about there, like the UCL Fantasy where you have 6 match days in the group. But here You can carry over 1 transfer probably in match day 2 going to match day 3. During any stage of the tournament, you are able to exceed your transfer allocation for that round, but each additional transfer you make will deduct 3 points. So it's not -4 like we are used to. It's -3. Scoring system, very important. We want to know how many points our players are going to give us. How many players our players going to give us. How are you, Mustafa, Andrew, Ripadu, nice seeing you, Soldier Boy as well, Joshua, thank you guys for being here again. As in, let's see scoring system. I think it's basically, but I have seen a couple of new things in the scoring system. I think they're giving points for shots on target. That is crazy. If a player has a shot on target, they're going to give a point for. I think it's for the strikers only. Let's see. Don't take my word for that. Let's read through it. But that is crazy. If they're giving points for shots on target. Let's see. Obviously, appearance, we know that. Assist, it's only 3 points. We know that. Red card is -2. Yellow card is -1. On goal is -2. Winning a penalty. So if your player wins a penalty, it's +2. If they concede a penalty, it's -1. So that is interesting. Goalkeepers. If a goalkeeper keeps the clean sheet, is 5 points. Yeah, that is also new, right? Because usually goalkeepers get 4 points, so they're giving goalkeepers 5 points for a clean sheet. Yeah, we need to start looking for goalkeepers who are going to get us definite clean sheets. First goal conceded 0, so nothing with that one. First goal conceded 0 points. Each additional goal conceded -1. Wait, are they going to deduct you a point for every goal conceded, not every 2 goals? Each additional goal. Wow. So yeah, for the goalkeepers, it's not like -2. For the defenders and goalkeepers for all the other fantasy games, if your player concedes 2 goals, that's when it's -1. When they concede another 2 goals, that's when they get a -1 as well. This time around, they're going to deduct you a point for every single goal. So if you have a goalkeeper and they concede 5 goals, that is -5. That is crazy. Goal scored. If a goalkeeper scores a goal, +9. Just imagine that. If your goalkeeper scores a goal at the World Cup, it's +9. I don't think I have a lot of World Cup knowledge. I'm actually doing a documentary on World Cup right now. I don't think I've seen a goalkeeper scoring a goal at the World Cup before. So I don't think that will happen. +9. I don't think so. Penalty save. You'll only get 3 points for a penalty save. That is mean. If your goalkeeper saves a penalty, it's only 3 points. Come on, that is pretty mean. That is very, very mean. Every 3 saves, 1 point, so that is same. So yeah, that is totally different. Someone had asked, is it the same as FPL? This is totally different, and it's not the same as it was because I played it in 2018. I don't remember some of these things at all. Especially this for -1 every goal conceded. I've never had that one. Defenders, let's go to the defenders. Clean sheet, 5 points. That is interesting. Usually a clean sheet is 4 points. Here for a defender, it's 5 points. Even more important. First goal conceded 0. Each additional goal conceded -1. So I'm telling you guys, if let's say you double up on if you go for Cancelo and Pepe from Portugal, and then they concede 4 goals, you are going to get some minus, so a lot of minuses in your team, because they're minusing 1 point for every goal conceded for each player that you have. Goal scored +7. So if a defender scores a goal, it's +7. Whoa, that's a lot. It's usually 6, so 7 is also a lot. So again, these players like Cancelo, these players like Hakimi, these players who like going forward, even Van Dijk, if they score a goal, +7 is not bad. Let's go to the midfielders. Clean sheet +1, that is usual. Goal scored +5, that is usual. Every 3 tackles +1. So players like Højbjerg, players like the players who play midfield, those players are not that bad, because if they make a lot of tackles, they get an extra point every 3 tackles. So it's not a crazy idea if you go for defensive midfielders here. So that's not bad. Nothing much to read on the midfielders. Forwards, goal scored +5. Yo, they're giving the same points for the forwards and the midfielders for scoring a goal. I don't mind that. I don't know. What do you guys feel about that? Do you think it's a good idea to give the same number of points to the forwards and the midfielders if they score a goal? Because I mean, then I don't really have to go for I don't have to stress about, oh my goodness, I have to get all these good midfielders. I can just get the strikers knowing they're going to get the same number of points. That is interesting. But here, this is the new one. Every 2 shots on target, if your striker takes 2 shots, they're going to get an extra point. If they take another 2 shots, they get an extra point on target. So that is pretty interesting. So that is where players like Harry Kane and Ronaldo, who like taking 5-6 shots per game, they become very important. Those kind of players who can shoot from anywhere. It will definitely help you. A match day schedule. So match day 1 will be played between 20th November and 24th of November. Match day 2 starts in 25th of November. So this is crazy. If you need to make your changes, you need to make them almost immediately. Because, for example, like if you're in Europe, UK or France or Portugal, the games will be like starting at like 10 a.m. your time in the morning. If you're like in USA or Canada, Mexico, South America, the games will be starting like at 5 a.m., 4 a.m. for you in the morning, depending on where you are, maybe 7 a.m. latest. If you're on the other side, Australia, the games will be starting like at 8 p.m. at night. So you have to really take a look at how to change your team, because like let's use European time, because most of you are watching from Europe and Africa, you'd understand it more. The game ends on 24th November. That will be like at 11 p.m. at night. The very next match day starts the next day at 10 a.m. in the morning. So you have to change your team that night. There's no sleeping. Either you wake up very early and change your team, or you change your team that same night, or you change your team earlier. But I would prefer to, because I don't think there's any player changes in terms of prizes. So you can change it earlier, but I would prefer to wait and see which players are getting injured, which players are getting suspensions, because I'm pretty sure if a player gets a yellow card in match day 1 and in match day 2, they don't play match day 3, if my knowledge serves me right. So you have to take a look at all that. But yeah, the turnaround is quick. The match day ends on 24th of November and then starts on 25th. Another one ends on 28th, starts on 29th. Another one ends on 2nd and starts on 3rd as well. That is crazy. Literally, there's no break for the round of 16. Usually, I'm pretty sure usually after the group stage, they usually take like 2 days off and then they return like on a Thursday from the last 3 World Cups I've watched. This time there's no break. Literally the game starts the very next day. Interesting. But there will be a break of 2 days between match day 4 and 5, another break of like 3 days between match day 5 and 6, and another break of like 3 days between semi-finals and third place playoff and final. Yo, that is a lot. That is a lot to take in, but hopefully it's been helpful. A lot of interesting things to look into, like this one for strikers scoring the same points as midfielders when they score 5 points. I also have find this interesting. Every 2 shots on target from a striker gets you 1 point as well. So even if Ronaldo doesn't score a goal, but he has 6 shots on target, you get like 3 points there. So not 3 points there, so that's not bad at all.